Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to me because I actually haven't made a video here in about 2 years. Um, the last video I made, I'm looking at my notes, September 26th of 2022, and that's where I described me losing my farm. I used to have an aquaponics farm here in Wisconsin, um, and I went into pretty in-depth detail about why it went under, the mistakes that I made. Um, so if you guys want to learn more about that, I'll put the link in the description below if you want to see that video. Um, so what have I been up to? Quite a bit actually, quite a bit since September when you saw me making that video from that school. I'm no longer associated with that school. I don't want to say too much about that, but it was just a bad situation. Um, and actually, I ended up moving to a different part of Wisconsin at the request of a family that I knew who were supposedly Christian, and they were going to help me build my business and all this stuff. And basically, it was all a lie. They were just trying to take advantage of me. They were trying to get me to build a whole farm for them on their property and do all the work for free while they gained all the rewards. So it was even where I was even building my own bedroom, and then they stopped paying for the materials. So I had like a half-built bedroom and bathroom. So no like real flooring, no paint on the walls, no ceiling. It was really it was a pretty bad situation. And all I can say about that is be really wary of people that say that they want to help you. And a lot of times maybe just even get it in writing. It doesn't matter how close they are, if they're friends, if they're family, if they're a pastor, if they're a mayor, it doesn't matter. Get it in writing because they almost destroyed me again for the second time. So I actually left pretty abruptly this summer in July. I knew I had to get out of there. It was a bad situation. It was terrible for my mental health. They were just destroying me mentally. They were destroying me financially. And actually, I had started a farm. It wasn't a traditional aquaponics farm. It was actually kind of more of a traditional farm where I had chickens and I was breeding and raising egg-laying chickens, and it was all bad. I was actually doing really well with the chicken aspect, but they were just trying to take all the eggs and give them away, and they were eating a lot of them without paying for them, without helping taking care of them. So if you see me glancing off, I'm looking at my notes on the computer, so it's So so at the end of the day, they just basically lied about helping me. It was more about what I could do for them. I ended up doing tens of thousands of dollars worth of free work for them, taking care of their property, and while at the same time paying an enormous amount in rent for a room that wasn't even built, wasn't even fully built. So, and as a result, I went through quite a bit of health issues in the last couple of years, dealing with anxiety, dealing with my mental health, and dealing with stomach issues that result from anxiety. I've been prone to get an ulcer, from stress. So, I was dealing with a lot of that. So then I ended up getting a regular job from a company. You know, I will say that I've had a couple really bad jobs since the farm closed. It's just how it is these days. Unfortunately, there's more bad companies than there are good companies. And unfortunately, I picked two companies that were both terrible back to back. And some of it was money related in terms of I kind of jumped at the money versus doing a really in-depth look at their culture and how they, any reviews that they had. I was kind of blind to that, so that's my fault. Rushing into things. I kind of went with my gut and certain things without being fully investigated. So that's my fault. I didn't do my homework, and that's my fault. So, but it's done some terrible things, for me on a mental note. Really, I was very depressed, very just down in the dumps, and basically just trying to start over. So, some key things I made was, um, I have found a lot better job, um, pretty close to home. It's a 5-minute drive. So I mean, who can complain about that commute? I mean, other than working like across the street from your employer. So I work at a place that's fairly close. I'm spending a third of what I would spend on gas. So I used to have to fill up every 4 or 5 days. Now I fill up every 3 weeks. And when you drive a pickup truck, it adds up. So a lot less wear and tear in the car, saving a lot of money on gas. And then the pay is the same. Actually, I'm making a little bit more than my previous job, just not by much, but still more. And the work situation seems to be a lot better. It's not, I work in skilled trades, so I work in maintenance. So typically, a lot of companies, there's a lot of infighting, there's a lot of backstabbing, people just trying to move up. And where I currently work, it's for the most part, everybody's pretty nice. Everybody's willing to work together, help each other out. They've been very helpful to me to get acquainted with the company, acquainted with the equipment, because they want me to be successful. So because a successful me helps the entire department. So really, really thankful for that. Speaking about being closer to home, I actually moved. Um, when I left the family in Caledonia, I actually moved to Oak Creek with a coworker. It wasn't the most ideal situation because it was his apartment. It was a 3-bedroom apartment, but it was already fully furnished. I ended up getting a tiny little room for an entire house's worth of stuff, and it just I don't want to speak bad about him. So like everybody has their own issues, but I knew I had to. I knew it was a temporary situation, so I just kind of dealt with it. And as soon as something came along, um, I took it. And unfortunately, the housing market stinks. A lot of you guys should know that, or a lot of guys do know that. So I'm paying like double the rent what I paid a couple years ago. But I live in a nice neighborhood, so it's safe, it's quiet, everyone's pretty nice, and it's close to work. It's close to a lot of things, close to the groceries. I'm literally almost right across the street from the grocery store, so I can just literally walk across a set of apartments, and I'm right there. So it's a little unfortunate that I'm paying as much as I'm paying, because I'm paying almost like 2,000 a month, which is outrageous. But that's just the market. You can't. I spent months trying to find a place, and everybody's kind of right in that $2,000 range, and unless you want to be in a really bad part of town, which I did not want to. So doing the best that I can. Thankfully, I have a job that allows me to pay for that. Because really, at the end of the day, I work and I'm home. I don't do anything outside. I'm trying to start this business, but other than that, I'm just home. So I'd rather spend my money on a nice place to live than anything else. So what's going on with this new company that I kind of briefly talked about in a post that I made last night? So I have started a new venture. It is called Valiant Waters. And the website is actually going to be right here. So you guys can go check that out. It is actually it's legally incorporated in Wisconsin as a C corporation, which means we do have shares. And it just makes it easier to get investors, and that's kind of the big thing, because I looking, having had years to look back on, what happened. I do know that there were quite a few mistakes that I made. Things like going too big too fast, not really choosing, not being as thoughtful in the kind of fish that I was growing, and then also producing too much. I have so much waste, and renting such a big building. Those are mistakes that I personally made. And so looking back now and trying to restart, I know that I've kind of been able to really delve into things, and I've decided that it's probably better if I just go smaller, but not just go smaller, but be a lot more thoughtful on how I'm going to do things. But I'm having a better plan for profitability. So like, two changes I plan on making is, first, choosing different types of fish. One I kind of did use, so I did use koi fish, but I wasn't really using them to as a sellable product. I just had them kind of as demos for like at home aquaponic systems that I could build and sell. But um, I think you know just talking to people and doing some research, getting pure bred Japanese koi and getting them imported, and raising them up and selling them. I think not only are koi fish great for aquaponics in terms of the fact that, first of all, they're very hardy. They eat practically everything. They produce a lot of waste, which is great for aquaponics. It's not great for like an aquarium or for a pond if you don't have the right filtration. But for an aquaponics system, that's great because you can grow more. But there's also a pretty big market for good koi fish. And I'm not talking about like you know fish that you see at like your local pet store that's that was raised at some farm, some in a mud pond. You're talking about purebred koi um, from Japan. Where I could have documentation. So that's one aspect, and I do have somebody interested in possibly working with me on that, because they kind of are interested in getting into that business. So it'd be kind of like a win-win. I help them, they help me. Um, and of course they would be paperwork to outline things because I made that mistake before. But the other really big thing is and the fish that I want to choose is yellow perch, and the reason for that is it's a native fish to Wisconsin. It's been overfished, so it's really hard to be able to actually. It's really hard to just catch them in the wild. Um, and I mean, I remember growing up as a kid; they were still fairly plentiful. I remember going out fishing with my grandpa, and I think we had like a 20 perch limit, and I would max out, in an hour or two. Even catching 1 pound perch. I actually have a picture. I think it's right here. Me catching a 1 pound perch, as a teenager. You can't do that now. I can't remember the last time I've caught a perch. So being able to raise a fish that's local and is in high demand, because actually right before my farm failed, back in 2022, I was actually raising yellow perch, and I was getting bombarded by businesses that were like, hey, I want to buy all your perch. So I know there's a market for it. The resale value of yellow perch is astronomical compared to like tilapia. Could I get tilapia and raise that um, and use that for aquaponics? Absolutely. Tilapia is great for aquaponics. They grow extremely quick. They breed like rabbits. You can go from a couple hundred or a couple thousand tilapia to tens of thousands of tilapia in a year, just because of how quickly they breed. Um, but there's no resale value. Market value I think is like $4 or $5 a pound, and it's because there's a really bad stigma with tilapia, and that they're junk fish, and they have a lot of like parasites, and they can have cancerous stuff, like harmful chemicals in them, and that's true for if you buy like fish fillets from overseas. I'm not going to name certain countries, but some are more prone to feeding them junk. But like with my tilapia, I actually had tilapia, and I fed them organic lettuce. I fed them organic greens along with non-GMO pellets, and they would have been amazing. But a lot of people don't see that, and I can't charge a premium for that because the market's just not there. Whereas yellow perch, if I had 100,000 pounds of yellow perch to sell tomorrow that were market size, I could sell it all probably within hours. So that's kind of the way I want to, that's kind of the fish I want to use. I also want to get into breeding them. There's really nobody that does it well. There's really no. I want to get into the science of breeding yellow perch in the farm setting. It's not as hard when you have ponds and things like that, but in when you talk about artificial ponds, being aquaculture, no one's really figured out a way to do it the right way. So I kind of want to get into that because I also want to get into the conservation of yellow perch. Yes, I'm going to grow yellow perch for sale, but I also want to help replenish the local waters if I can. Part of being a responsible business owner is to leave the environment in a better condition than when you found it. And if what's it going to cost me if if I'm able to breed yellow perch and I donate, a couple thousand fish every now and then, um, and I'm still able to turn a decent profit. Hey, that's a win-win for me. That's a, not everything's, not everything's always about money or making money or having more money. Sometimes it's just doing the right thing. So the big thing too with the new farm that I want to focus on is more on the fish production than the vegetable production. I learned from the previous farm that doesn't matter how many vegetables you grow. Unfortunately, there's a huge market already for, there's a lot of suppliers. Granted, things might change with, since today's inauguration, things might change with imports and things like that. And it would be nice for farms, like local farms, to be able to sell more locally. I had a hard time, especially big box stores. I could not get my foot in the door. I was in two major stores, but it wasn't enough. I was selling more, or I was throwing away more than I was selling. So if I focus more on the fish, there's actually more money in the fish, and I could sell it. So this way it would allow, I would still be able to grow the vegetables, but I don't have to worry as much about selling this excess amount of vegetables. And so I can build that up, I can scale that up as I need to. So that's kind of where we're headed. So how can you help? And so why am I making this video? So I do need your help. As like I said, I basically almost lost everything. I kind of went into financial ruin when I lost my business. So I can't really get a traditional loan to restart a business. So I started a Kickstarter campaign. The link is below in the description. And what that does is it's crowdfunding. I'm not asking for donations. This is, you purchase something. So you purchase a reward, comes with various things, whether it's a t-shirt, it's a mug, or it's heads of lettuce, or there's actually somewhere you can come pick up perch when they get to market size. And then there's one, and I think the top package is a koi package. So when we bring in the koi, we will raise it up to get to be a juvenile. And you can pick out the perch or the koi fish of your choice. This would be a purebred koi. It could be worth thousands. It could be worth eventually tens of thousands. You're getting something for it. You're not doing a handout. So basically, the simple math is we're trying to raise $15,000. So if we got 150 people to purchase $100 packages or the rewards packages, we meet our goal. And that's just the step towards what we really need to raise. So the minimum we really need to raise is $120,000. That would get us through the first about 2 years. And that's without paying me. I'm not gonna take a check. I'm not taking any kind of pay, any kind of compensation from the company, at least for a year or two. So that's to do things right, build things the right way, use the right, when I did the farm, we kind of had to, it was a little crazy because it was during COVID. So we kind of had to be creative because there were things that we couldn't get. And then the things we could get were insanely expensive. Not that things aren't expensive now, but a lot of things are more readily available. Things like aquaculture tanks, 3 to 600 gallon aquaculture tanks. They're not overly expensive. They look better. They're easier to maintain than what we were using. We were using pools, above ground pools. As cheap as they are now, it's not ideal for fish. So, getting the right filtration, getting the right pumps, and then getting the right facility. And even though we're looking for less space, prices are outrageous. You guys know that with the housing market. Same thing with the commercial market. The commercial market is insanely high. I've been quoted for a 6,000 square foot building It has nothing in it but a bathroom. Um, just open space with like 6 overhead doors and a gas heater. $7,500 a month. Um, there's a place just down the street. It's been sitting empty for years, and I could get 8,000 square feet for, um, and it's still going to cost $8,000. There's a couple places that are like 3,000 square feet, but they still want like $5,000. It's insane. So we're still doing our due diligence to try to find something affordable. I mean, would it be nice if we could get land and build a greenhouse and build a fish house? Yeah, but I mean, I don't have millions of dollars, and I don't own any land. So, um, but the Kickstarter helps us get started. Our ultimate goal, like I said, is a minimum of 120,000 to 150,000. And like I said, that gets us the equipment, that gets us into a building, has enough money set aside for rent, utilities, and I'm eventually going to have to bring in a salesperson that can get us into the markets. Fish, I'm not overly worried about. I can, like I said, I can make a couple phone calls and probably sell all the fish within a couple hours. It's getting us into supermarkets for our vegetables. One thing that I realized pretty quick with my last aquaponics farm is I'm not a sales guy. I'm an analytical guy, and that's why I don't have this bubbly personality on YouTube, and I don't have this outgoing personality through my videos. I'm a behind the scenes type of guy. Making videos is not my strength. I don't feel like I have a strong online presence. And I don't feel like I have a magnetic personality, and that's things I'm working on. But I'm more analytical. I'm more hands-on. I'm the guy building the system, maintaining the system. I'm running the numbers, and that's what I'm good at. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and sales is my weakness. Sales and marketing. So I realize I'm probably gonna have to pay somebody to do that, and it's gonna cost money. So I won't be the first person to get a salary of any kind from the business. It'll have to be a salesperson. So and I'm sure there's ways around that, and maybe getting a reduced salary if maybe we get a paid intern or something like that who wants to gain experience. And it's kind of a win-win. But we still need the capital. So if you can help us out with the Kickstarter, it'd be great, whether it's the $25 rewards package, or you can give a couple hundred thousand, or a couple hundred thousand. That'd be fantastic. A couple $100, or even $1,000, or the $5,000, especially if you're local to Wisconsin or Northern Illinois. Or if, let's say you believe in me, and you believe in you think that this could work out. I can provide you with paperwork, with the business plan, and 7-year financial projections, which is really hard because you can do projections, but I think we've all seen the economy is unpredictable, everything's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, so it's just kind of all you're just hoping that you're making these projections based off of with good intentions, and hopefully things don't take a turn for the worse. So but if you're interested in maybe becoming an investor and having ownership in this company, we're able to do that with being a C corporation. And I still, I have room on my board of directors. So if you're interested, message me or send me an email at the link at the bottom of the screen, or I'll also leave it in the description below. So I just want to thank you for your time. And I want to thank you for your support. It's going to be a slow process, but if we can really get this money going and start raising the money, I want to document everything and show you guys how to do it. Show you guys the progress. Especially if you give, I want to be able to show you tangible things that are happening with any money that you guys give and any support that you give. So I just want to thank you for your time. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, and see you later.